Pro drivers punch over the top of the curb at 3 with their foot to the floor. So today it's my turn to take the test 2 miles an hour faster there. 4, a little bit slower. 5, 3 miles an hour faster. Welcome back to It's Track Time. I've done a series of videos showing the changes I've been making to my GT4 RS to make it better on the track. The last video I showed how I basically put the whole Dundon catalog onto the car. I put their complete aero package onto it and then their header back system on it. So for the aero package, I put a front splitter, dive planes, and a rear wing. And I've documented how 2 pro drivers, Randy Popes and then the pro driver at Dundon, Ted, having them drive with and without these components and what the delta was. So today it's my turn to take the test and see what the delta is on an amateur driver driving without these components and then with these components on the track. I'm going to use Ted's lap as the reference and show what the car is capable of with all these components on it. And then I'm going to attack one particular area to go after in this 2-day track weekend. Okay, so let's look at 2 reference laps to pick out the area that I'm going to go after in this 2-day track weekend. The 2 laps are on the left is my best lap on a 75-degree day and with basically a stock configuration in Hoosier R7s. And on the right is the pro driver Ted driving the car with all of the components on a 75-degree day, including the Hoosier R7s. And he actually had a new set of Hoosier R7s on the car. So these are both 75-degree day laps, and they are both with Hoosier R7s, without all the components and with all the components, amateur versus pro. And so I wanted to identify where I am behind the pro and then go after one of these areas on this track weekend to see if I can improve my overall time. So obviously looking at this plot, the biggest time delta between myself and the pro is from turn 2 through the beginning of the S's. So if you look at the pro drivers, and I followed many of them into the S's and looked at the way they set up their line and their braking points compared to what I did. And the big delta was I would hit my brakes coming out of 2 and brush them, settle the car down going into 3, and then I would maintain that speed through all of the S's. The pro drivers would come out of turn 2, keep their foot down, punch over the top of the curb at 3 with their foot to the floor, and then get to turn 4, still going at full speed, and then brake enough to settle the car down and slow it so it's under control, and then power through the rest of the S's from there. So that was something I didn't feel comfortable doing with the car in its stock configuration, because when you went over the curb at 3, the car would fly into the air and you'd have to catch it. And we documented this really well watching Randy drive the car in the stock configuration through the S's. And you can see as he came through turn 3, the car would launch into the air and then he would catch the car before he got to turn 4, brake, and then travel on through the rest of the S's with that speed. That was something I didn't feel comfortable doing. The difference was trying to find a way to get the car planted. So part of the Dundon package was to get the MCS dampers. And so the MCS dampers allowed an amateur driver like myself to go over the top of the curb at 3, and the car maintained its composure and stayed settled, so I could keep my foot down and get into turn 4, brake, and then go through the rest of the S's from there. So that was the real key piece to this. Now, the downforce is also there to keep me planted, but the MCS was the real key piece to get me through that one curb and then into turn 4 so that I could then drive the rest of it at speed. So today I'm going to try to drive that piece of the track with my foot to the floor and not brake going into 3, but brake at 4. Okay, so let's compare 2 laps. On the left is myself driving with the stock configuration. On the right, it's myself driving with all of the Dundon components. And so this is after about 2 sessions. You can see on the front straight, it's 135 and 135, so no difference on the long straightaways. The car is basically the same speed. You can see there's a tailwind coming down the S's here on the left-hand stock lap. And so on the other lap, the Dundon lap, I did not have any wind helping me out. So at turn 2, 89, 89. This is one place where the downforce should be helping me. I'm not comfortable enough with it yet to keep my foot down. That's an area I've got to work on. Here's where I started working. So coming into turn 3, the V max, you can see between the two, 105, 107. So I only have a 2 mile an hour difference going into turn 3. This is where I would hit the brakes on my stock configuration. So you can see the speed drop dramatically there. And then as we come to turn 3 now, I'm at 89 in the stock configuration, and I'm at 104 with the Dundon components. So now I'm jumping over the curb, and going into 4 now it's 88 versus 100. So I'm maintaining that speed. And so this is the key to getting a better lap time for me on this weekend. Now when we get into turn 5, now they're the same. So I've settled the car down to a comfortable speed, and they're the same at this point. And now I've got to try to get some more speed going through the rest of this. So through turn 6, turn 7 is one that we were hopping the curb with the MCS and not with the stock configuration. So you can see how I avoided the curb with the stock configuration, and I'm going to jump over it with the MCS now. And so it's 68 versus 77. I've got a better line here, and the car's going to stay settled. And then I set up going into turn 8 here, and I do the same line here. And you can see the V-min is the same, 50-50, so no difference in the performance there. Now I'm going to try to jump the curb at 9. So I'm going to try to, instead of avoid the curb, you can see I'm jumping over it now. The speed is 62 versus 64. I've only got a slight advantage, but I need to carry this forward through the rest of this straight. And so now coming into turn 10 is a kink. Both cars, I have my foot down on both cars, so they're at 99 and 100. And so I had a better launch coming out of turn 9. And so I've got a little bit more speed here, but now I'm going to try to roll that forward into a better terminal speed here. 125 versus 128. Not that great. The other guys were at 133, so another place I've got to work on with this new setup. So now I come around turn 11, and this is the minimum, and it's about the same, 39, 40. So no difference there. The MCS doesn't help me. There's no downforce at this point. So now I've got to launch down the back straight. And so I've got the car, my foot down, and I've got a headwind on the stock lap, and I've got no wind on the modified lap here. So this car didn't give me a point by, so I had to lift off of the throttle. You can see my head bob right there as I said a choice word. Okay, so you can see the difference in the speed, 154 versus 149. That difference is because I had to lift because that car didn't give me a point by. And then I go into turn 12 here, and I think I'm about the same speed going through that. Now we're in the slow speed pieces. The MCS doesn't help me. The added downforce doesn't help me. If anything, the header should be able to help me launch out of some of these corners, but I'm basically driving the same line at roughly the same speed, so there's no real difference here. Okay, so now we get into the carousel, and the carousel is one place that I should be able to benefit from the added downforce. So as I come in, I'm a little bit faster coming into it with the added downforce with the Dundon package. At this point, I should be capitalizing on it, and you can see I'm only a mile an hour faster, so not a big difference here. This is an area I've got to capitalize on the downforce and feel the car and maintain the speed. So when we get to the V max, it's 107 and 107, so there's no difference here. That's disappointing. I wasn't comfortable keeping my foot down on the carousel yet. That's a mental thing. So on 19, I straddled it with both, and now you can see still 74, 75. Not a big difference here, but I think I get a better exit with the Dundon package here. So when I come on to this short straight and get to the max speed, I'm at 102 and 106. So I do have a better max speed coming out of turn 19. So once again, I've got to get more performance going around the carousel. And then I go through turn 20, and now we go for the final time, and I'm at a 224.48 and a 221.71. So the difference there is about 3 seconds. That's about what we expected, but you can see that there's still some kinks and there's more that I can get out of this. Okay, so now let's look at where the 3 seconds came from. We're going to look at my old stock lap in white and then the new lap with the Dundon components in blue. And from the time slip plot, you can clearly see there's 3 real areas that I improved. Through the entire S's, I was faster. Going from 10 Into 11, I felt more comfortable and was faster. Still not as fast as the pros, but I was faster. And then you can see as I left turn 19, I felt more comfortable in the car and I was able to get more speed in that last short straight. And so the only thing I was really focused on in this particular session was trying to not brush my brakes at 3 and carry that speed all the way into 4 and then settle the car and go into 5. And from the speed plots, you can see that there is a big bump in speed between 3 and right around 5. And so now I have to continue to work on that and even get more speed through that section and then carry it through all the S's. So you can see it's already a good result, 3 seconds, just by feeling more comfortable in the car after just a couple sessions. And now I need to refine this. Okay, with the initial 2 sessions, now let's look at how I'm doing compared to the pro reference lap. So I'm in white and Ted, the pro driver, is in blue. Same car, same Dundon components, same tires, different temperatures. Ted ran in the morning at 75 degrees. I'm running at 90 some degrees in the afternoon. So that's going to help out the lap time. In the future, when I run in the morning, hopefully I'll get some extra performance because of that. But let's just focus on the results that we have here and look at where I can still improve. You can see that he goes through turn 2 much faster than me. And then he's more committed going from 3 to 4. And so if you look at the actual video clip of the two of us going through there, you can see he's a lot more committed going into 3 and then carrying through to 4. And his speed is much higher than my speed through that complex. And then he settles the car down. And then he carries that speed all the way through the S's, and you can see the big speed delta there as well. So there's a lot more left in the car that if I get more comfortable, I should be able to extract out, and that's the biggest piece. If you look down at the time slip, that's the biggest slope that he has on me at this point. The rest of it is fairly flat. You can see through the carousel, he's got another slope on me, and through turn 19. But it's not anywhere near as bad as going from turn 2 through about maybe turn 6. And so those are the areas that I need to work on. You can see on the back straight, there's that notch. That's where I had to lift to get around a car. And then after he finally gave me the point by, I was able to get my foot back down. So you can see how I lost time there. That's an easy fix. You just get the car out of the way and I can keep my foot down. So I really need to double down on turn 2 through all of the S's and really commit more to that. And so that, after looking at this, that's what I focused on the next day, as I just tried to commit more on the S's. By the end of the second day, I was doing better. I was a little more committed to getting through the S's faster. And so here you're going to see on the front straight, no difference in performance on this particular lap. Come around turn 1, going into turn 2, trying to be more committed going through turn 2 here. And you can see the delta is 2 miles an hour faster there. Going into turn 3, 2 miles an hour faster there. 4, a little bit slower. 5, 3 miles an hour faster. Going through 6, and then into 7. I was about the same going through 7, maybe a mile an hour slower there. Going into the V-min, I was slower going through this complex because I didn't get lined up, but then going over the top of turn 9, 5 miles per hour faster. Going through turn 10, I continued at 5 miles an hour faster. And by the time I got down into 11, I was a mile an hour faster on that back straight. Came around here, turn 11, about the same speed going through that. Now I can commit going down the back straight. I don't have anyone in front of me. I can try to get to the max speed, which should be around 154, somewhere around there. It's hot outside though, so I'm probably not going to get to my max velocity, but let's see what we do here. Oh, 153, so that's good. Then I come into turn 12 and my brakes fail. So my pads ran out. So that was the end of that lap. So I had a real good burner. I had almost a full second in the bank. I could have got down into the 220s probably with that. And my damn pads gave up on me. So that was the end of it for me. Okay, so if you don't finish the lap, it's not a real lap. I know that. But let's just pretend for a little bit that maybe I could have finished the lap. So let's take at the end of turn 12, and let's say everything after that, the pads were gone. I was on metal. And so everything after that is garbage. So throw all that stuff away. And then let's look at what's left. And if you look at the time slip plot now between that lap and Ted's lap, it looks a lot flatter. I'm doing better. So going through the turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, I'm not at his level yet, but I'm a lot closer. And then I carry the speed through the S's a lot better. So the time slip plot looks pretty flat now all the way to the end of turn 12. So it's very promising. So now if I can just commit to getting through the carousel faster and getting through 19 faster, I should be able to get into I don't know, I'd definitely be in if I finished this lap, I would have been in the 220s. And I think if I committed more in the carousel and through 19 to get closer to Ted's speeds, it looks like I could be in that 19 kind of range, and that would be magical if I could get there. So that's my goal for the next time I go out. It'll be cooler outside. That's going to help me, and I'll be more committed. I should be able to do the same thing again through the S's, and then I just have to work on getting through the carousel faster, committing to 19 and carrying that speed down that back straight, or that short straight. And hopefully I'll crack into the 19, so that would be great if I could get through that weekend with a 19. So hope to see you out the track next time. Hopefully we'll be out there in December and then maybe again in February. So look for me out there. Talk to you then.